All right, guys, we're going to take a look at a Strategy and Tactics magazine, issue number 256. This is from May, June of 2009. So this is, what, 13 years old? The outside of the magazine says RAF, Battle of Britain. Nice artwork. Very nice artwork. But that's not the game you get. The game you get in here is Battles of Ramillies and Oh, I'm going to butcher this one really bad. Malplaquet? Whatever. So, let's take a look at the rules. This is back when Strategy and Tactics were stapling their binding. So it's kind of sometimes, you know, the end of the rules has articles under the back of it. And all right, this one seems to be fine. All right, let me find the first page of the rules here. All right, here we go. Marlborough's battles, Ramillies and Malplaquet. I'm sure that's not how you pronounce that, but that's how I pronounce it. It's a Richard Berg game. It is a war game of moderate complexity covering two of the Duke's greatest victories in the War of the Spanish Succession. Ramillies, a massive cavalry battle, and Malplaquet, a great infantry battle. So the period in which Marlborough and his opponents fought was a transition. Okay, so this is about Marlborough, Duke Marlborough, and his battles during the Spanish Succession. There's two battles included in the game, Ramillies and Malplaquet. The period was a transition between musket and pike and the more fluid mass tactics. Okay, so map scale is 225 yards per hex. Double length infantry composed of blah, blah, blah. Components, map, counters. There are three general categories of counters: leaders, combat units, and administrative markers. There are two types of leaders: a wing commander and an overall commander, and leaders of individual commands within each army, abbreviated with RW, LW, right wing, left wing. Here, oh yeah, look, there's no, this is back when they printed everything in black and white as well, so you can't really see any color, but there's a sample of a unit, a leader unit. There's Marlborough at the top, and the leader down there is Overkirk. Looks like there's two hex formations, or counters, and there gives you an overview of them. There's a sample cavalry unit. It's a single hex counter, and by single hex I mean this hex, or this counter here, is so it takes up two hexes. So the facing is, I'm positive facing is important. Here we have artillery units, which simply have a move and fire mode. And here we have some administrative counters, markers. Begin our sequence of play. Looks like you command or activate different commands, and then those commands have different units which you can then move about. Fire, rally. Then you can shock, attack, or charge. Here's a section about activation and continuity. Here they're going over movement. Each counter has a movement allowance. Here we go, facing. I knew facing would be important. Here it's explaining facing and why it's important. Zones of control and withdrawals. Stacking limitations. fire combat, pre-shock reaction, and caracol. What? Okay, here we're going over shock, charging, combat results. Here it goes over leaders and their abilities and capabilities and effects on play. Dragoons, mounted infantry. I like that, dragoons. Again, going over victory. Here is scenario 1, Ramillies, 23rd of May of 1706. And here is the second scenario, Malplaquet, 11 September 1709. And each scenario gives you all the setup and composition data that you need. And here's the one for the Malplaquet scenario. And here's some more charts and tables that you'll need during play. Okay, pretty detailed looking game. So here, let's take a look at the map because I already have it unfolded. And again, let me apologize for these hard creases because this has been stored for quite some time. There's 2 different maps and 1 standard war game magazine map sheet. They are divided by a terrain key and some charts and tables. The maps are pretty unimpressive. Probably a lot of elevation. The hexes are probably color-coded by elevation more than anything. You have some terrain such as swamps. You have rivers and trees. One thing I noticed I didn't really care for is everything's written like in the script of the time period, you know, which I understand they did that to make it, you know, more immersive in the time period. But they also did it here on these charts and tables, as well as the terrain keys. Yeah, there's elevations. It's just hard to read. It's just hard to read. I would rather them not have done that. I mean, look down here in this little. You know, I understand why they did it. I would just prefer that they wouldn't have. But that's a quick look at the 2 maps for the 2 scenarios that are included. Now we're going to take a look at the counter sheet. It's pretty thin white core, as you would expect from decision games from that period. Yeah, really thin. Really, really thin. And here we have your single hex counters, and as you can see above, there's the double hex ones. They just take up more room and are more unwieldy to move about on the battlefield, but they're stronger. There's your cavalry down there. Some artillery, administrative markers. Your infantry. And then your big infantry formations. Most of them, if not all, are double-sided. So that's what you get. Hey guys, thanks again. I appreciate you watching. Have a good night.